Fantastic. So, yeah, it is kind of lunchtime. So we thought we'd have something a little bit different. And you've got a great opportunity now if you're watching along at home or on your lunch break. You can code along and you can join in with this session, hopefully. So, Niels, welcome. Lovely to have you here.
Hi, thank you.
Hello, Niels.
Thanks for having me.
It's really awesome to see you here, and well done for repping the Umbraco t-shirts today on Umbraco Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
great job.
You said to wear color, so I thought this was as colorful as it gets.
Yep, that looks really awesome. So we're talking about the block grid editor today. Is that what you're going to be showing us?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and we are not just talking about it; we are getting hands-on. It's sort of a workshop. So
cool. So people in the chat, get yourselves ready. I believe, Niels, how's this going to work? Have you got some resources to share with people?
Yeah, that would be part of the initial introduction of the workshop. But I'm not sure people will be able to follow on. But it will be useful to know that you can follow on, and there will be resources that you can build onto. I've been told that.
It will all be available later, and you can pause and play as you please.
Yeah, and it will be available on YouTube later, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. So maybe for some it will be best to watch it now and then try to follow along later. But please do as you find.
Fantastic.
Fitting.
And as we go in the chat, maybe please drop in any questions. Niels, if we feel like there's a lot of questions and maybe it would be worth asking you some of them, we might jump in and ask you. But otherwise, we'll maybe grab you at the end for a second, go through some questions.
Yes, and I'll try to keep a look at the comments as well as
awesome.
We go on. So
you're doing our job for us.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. That's
well,
a pro.
Yeah, clearly a pro. Whenever you're ready, Niels, off you go.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm not sure I will succeed watching the comments, but so please help me.
We'll keep an eye as well.
It's
don't
fine.
worry.
Thank you. Okay, but let's see if I can figure out to share my screen. 2 seconds. Go with this screen. So there's a slideshow even. Yeah. So the name of this workshop is Tailor the Block Grid Editor. And yeah, as we just talked about, it's a workshop, but I don't necessarily think that you can follow along in the speed. So I hope you'll be watching this later on YouTube where you can pause and rewind. So if you don't already know me, my name is Niels Lyngsø, and I'm a UI and UX engineer at Umbraco. And what that means is that I'm a digital designer who's also a front-end developer. And I'm doing a lot of the product design at Umbraco for the back office. So I'm really keen and very interested to get your feedback. And as the headline of today is about tailoring the block grid editor, I would also really love to see some solutions built with it out there. So please reach out to me and send your projects. And also if you had some trouble, that's also welcome. So today it's about the block grid editor, and this is a new property editor that is available in Umbraco from version 10.4 and 11. And this editor is here to enable you to create intuitive and flexible editing experiences. And the reason why this editor enables such is because you can compose content in many more ways than we could do before. And that's mainly because of the ability to nest blocks within each other in the same editor. The plain setup of the block grid editor is an upgrade for those who are coming from nested content or block list and so. But if we really want to give our editors a immersive editing experience, we have to put ourselves at work, and that's what we'll be looking into today. So for you to get started, to be able to follow along with what I will be doing today, you can run these commands in your terminal. And though I am not a .NET expert, I hope this is the right and that gets you started. It worked for me at least. And what you'll get by running these commands is an back office solution. And then we are adding the package called Umbraco Block Grid Example Website on top. And this project is a website built with the Block Grid editor. And it's made to give you an idea about how the editorial experience can become when using the Block Grid editor as a page builder. It doesn't necessarily need to be used for that, but that's a very likely good choice for it. And the project consists of 9 different blocks, and these blocks are each trying to accomplish different needs. And it's actually not only giving you an idea about how it will be for a content editor to work with it, it's also showing you how this can be done. And today we will mainly be working with custom views for blocks. And I will assume that you already have some Umbraco experience. I will assume that you know what the block list and the block grid editor is. And I'll not be diving into the initial parts of getting this up and running. So I hope you know some already. And again, unless you are really fast at coding, you probably won't be able to follow along. So notice this will be available on YouTube later, and there you can pause and rewind. So the project that we'll be looking at in a bit is a website, and the front-end implementation has been made with the Razor. And in back office, we have custom views for each block. And the project is using one style sheet across the front-end implementation and the back office implementation, and across all blocks. And this is done because that's what you typically would do in classic web development. You would probably end up having one style sheet. So this is showing you how you can do that. There's also great options to do otherwise, but this is how it's done. Oh. 2 seconds. We'll just see how we can navigate. Yeah, so I have the project running here on my screen. This is the front-end development. And as you can see, it's a pretty classic website with some sections going all the way across. We have images and text, and nothing really different than you know from most websites. There's 2 pages to go through. And these generally showcases the blocks that are available here. If we go look at the back office implementation of this, we'll start seeing we'll see a similar visual output as the one we've seen just on the front page before. The main parts that we see here is blocks. And the reason why they look like this is because they have a custom view that is using the same markup as the markup we know from the front-end implementation. And since it's using the same style sheet, it looks the same. Yeah. So that's actually quite great that we can see the blocks as they would appear on the front end, and we could have done that with the block list editor as well. But where we start seeing a difference is that we can have blocks that holds other blocks. So in this case, the 2-column section block is a block that holds other blocks within, and we are making this happen through areas. And areas can be seen as subgrids that are defined on a block. And in that way, this block establishes a fixed layout that we can put our content into. And an area is not just for one block; it can be for multiple blocks. And mainly, what that enables us to do is that we can easily rearrange our blocks between these areas going across, and even between other blocks as well. Yeah, and these, since there was 2 areas in this block, we have established a layout that consisting of 2 columns basically, and that's why this block has been named the 2-column section block. But we shouldn't generalize our blocks as layout blocks or traditional blocks, because there is no dictated structure from the block grid editor. That's up to you to define and utilize how you want it to be. And a great example of that is here in the top, where we have a hero block. That's not placed within a layout block. That's just placed in the root of our content, and works sort of independently. I just want to jump ahead and show you another type of block that we have in this project, which will be developing something similar to. So on this page, the service page, we have a 1-column layout, contains of some text, and then we have some cards here. And the card has been configured to go in 2 sizes, enabling the editor to scale a block. And what we'll see is we'll have a little drag handler available here, and we can suddenly drag a block. And what is nice about that is that editors don't need to spin up a small or medium block. They can basically just drag the block they have, move it around. So that's going to give the editor way more flexibility in terms of trying out how they want their content to be. And that's actually the thing we'll try to implement today. So let me just jump a little bit ahead and talk about the setup of this example website, just so it doesn't get out of, just so you get an idea about what is it we are building on top of. So this was some documents, and they are using a document type that we here call the block grid, and it's basically holding one property that's using the data type called block grid. And this is the setup of the block grid editor data type that we've seen. You can see the 9 blocks listed here. They are grouped in 2 of them are in a group called layout, and the rest is in the group called content. It's a 12-column grid in the base, and that's the default that we come with. But what is noticeable is that it's using a different style sheet than the one that comes out of the box. And to get started doing this yourself, you can click this little button, and what you then get is you get the style sheet that comes out of the box with Umbraco. You actually need to do this if you want to render the block list editor on your frontend. Then you need to get the CSS file and store it in your frontend yourself. And let's just jump ahead to code to see how that is done. So this is the project. And in the VVV root, we have a CSS file where I have put the copy of the block grid layout style sheet. And this is actually not just a copy, this is the full style sheet for this project. But the first part above line 50 is the same as what we just saw before in back office. So if let's try again, click here, and I copy this part, then that is the part that is above here. The rest is customizations of that and the styling going for each block. We'll be looking closer at that later. And the way this is implemented in the front-end implementation is through this Razor template, where I'm inserting that CSS file. And again, if we go to back office, we have pointed the layout style sheet to that. So that means it's the same style sheet we're using in our front-end implementation and here in back office. So I only need to change it one place. And that is, of course, also helping us ensure it's the same visual experience you would have in both places. And just for clarification, the page itself, it's not doing much, but it's using our default grid, block grid editor render method, I guess you can call it that. And that's it. So this is actually the website implementation, and then each block has a partial view on their own. So if we have a look at one here that's called the rich text block, then that's doing what is needed for that block, and that's how it's implemented. And you can go further and look closer into that. But it's just so you have an idea about where we are at now that we got this project installed in our this package installed in our project. That's what I want to say. So 2 seconds. Let me just figure out where I was at. So to get started with the workshop, I want to say that we have a client that is coming along and wants to get another project in this website, another block, sorry, another content type to put into their website, and I will just get started doing that right now. So the block that the customer wants is one to represent a product. So I'll go ahead and create a new block and create a new element type for that, and I want to call it product. Let's just call it product block. It's gonna contain a little bit of information, like we want a title for that product, and we want a description, and in a real life project, I probably didn't want to encourage you to put this data right here. I probably would encourage you to make an actual product, which was a document elsewhere that you could pick. But to keep it simple, we are not picking anything here. We're just putting in some data. So we have something to work with when we are going to develop a custom viewer for this one in a little bit. I'm adding title, description, and a price. And I also want to put in an image for this product. Okie dokie. That's the data that we need. Just for good, what can I say? Just to make it easy to spot, I'll put a label on where I will use the title, the value of the title, to take part in that label. Another thing that we need to be aware of when we're making blocks is the base permissions that we're giving this block. And in this field, you can choose whether a block is allowed in the root of your layout or if it's allowed within areas of other blocks. And we don't want this product to be possible to add just in the root. So we'll tick off this one. That's actually what we need just for this block for now. We can go to our front page, our content editor, and maybe we can start adding some data for this already. So I'll add a new 1-column section going in here, and I will add the product block. And let's give it some name. I'll give it a name, air balloon. Yeah, and the price, it's gonna be expensive. And I already prepared an image here that I'll be using for that. So let's add just a few, just to get an idea about how this works. And yes, I cheated a little bit by having these free images ready here already. Okay, so typically these would be placed close to each other, but because of the styling of this project, there's some gap added between items in this one column section. But what you'll see here is that they are not that interesting to look at. Let's just save this, and then we'll go to code to add a custom view for this block. And how I've been doing that, or the way I'll do that, is within the app plugins folder. I'll make a folder where I want to have my custom views. And what this project already has done for us is that there is a Umbraco block grid folder that has some block views. And within that folder, I will now make one called product. Let's just call it product.html. When we're writing custom views, we're writing AngularJS, and I hope you already have a little idea about how that goes. But other than that, you should be fine learning how to do so, at least. So for this product, I want to show the data that we have entered. So the editor has a good overview of the product before they open it up. You can say here they're only able to read the headline of it, but if they were concerned about prices of products, then they would have to go in and read that and exit again. So we want to make sure all the data is available, and that actually counts for custom views in general. I have to let's just stop for a bit and talk about what you need to do with custom views, because you don't need to make an experience that looks exactly like the front end of your website. That's what we're doing here, but you could do something that looked partly like your website if you did it in a proper sketchy way. We have this design term called skeleton, and we often see it when we are loading things in modern apps. But you could implement your custom views like that if you didn't want to do full implementations. You could also have a screenshot or some sketch image that gives you an idea about what it is, and then just present that. And in some cases, the data that you want to put into the block grid editor is not necessarily that visual. So you could also maybe be interested in making your own UI that will illustrate what a block contains. So it's up to you to utilize this how you want to. Okay, so let's continue. I'm adding a div and I'm putting a class onto it. I'm adding another div because I know I will need this for later. In general, writing custom views is a front-ender's job, you can say. It's HTML and CSS that we are putting in, and then there's a bit of data binding. So of course you need to know where your data comes from and how you get it in the right format. But once that is solved, it's down to HTML and CSS to get the right look. When we're writing a custom view, we have the block available in a variable called block, and we have the raw data available on the data property. And in that property, each of the properties of the block is available through the alias. So in this case, I want to print the title here. Below, I want to print the description. I'll use a p tag for that. And then we have the, let me just copy again, We have the price as well. And that's the free textual data pieces that we have on our blog. Let's just go to backoffice and try to see how this would go. So the way I add a custom view to my blog is that I navigate to the data type configuration. I open up my blog and I can go to the advanced tab, and here I'm able to pick a custom view. I stored it right here under product.html. Try to save that and see how that looks. So now we have a little bit more information, but it's very unstyled, you can say. Not so interesting to look at. And now that we're talking about styling, it's relevant to be aware about that each block is rendered within a shadow DOM. And what that means is that the styling from the layout style sheet cannot affect, or it can affect, but it cannot target the content of a block. You probably need to be a front-end developer to get it fully, but it's good to understand you can't target divs and then it would affect stuff within a block. So the styling that we get within our block is working like a document on its own. So if we want our block to use the same style sheet as the rest of the project, I have to pick it in here. So, and if we refresh, the sharp eye will see that the font has changed. So now the styling is the same in both within the block and without the block, outside the block. Sorry. Maybe the next thing to do is to scale our blog a bit, because I don't want this product block to be full width. So we can go to our product block and we can add a size to it. I want it to be 3 columns wide out of the 12. And the 12 comes because it's a 12 column grid that we are using here. So now our products goes next to each other. And if we want to display all our data, we actually have to show the image as well. So let's just have a look at how you do that. And previously this has not been so easy in Umbraco, but we made a new AngularJS filter to help you get started with this. So if we want to have the data of an image, we can now send the key of the media item to a filter called media item resolver. And with this, we get the data of a full media item just based off a key. Now I need to enter the right key, of course. So we get to the block data. We stored it in an image picker called image. We're going to take the first image and we're going to take the media key of it. It's going to go to the AngularJS filter, which will return a media item for us. We can then use that media item in an image tag. And we'll print that media item, media link. You can look up the documentation for this if you are in doubt in the future. Let's just stop here. And that's, well, I don't want the image to be rendered if it's not there. So let's put an ngIf in front of, oops. Like this. All right. And if we want to be nice and we really want to do that, we have to make sure to put an alt text as well. And for that, we can use the name of the image for now. It would probably be more right to use a different value for that, but we don't have that at this moment. And I also want to make sure that we don't drag the image. Now that we are in a custom view, we don't want the cursor to be able to start dragging the image. We want the editor to be able to drag the full block, so we can add draggable false to the image tag. That's a specific need just for the image tag, because the native browser enables you to grab an image and move it out of the browser. Okay, let's see how this looks. Whoops. And there we go. That was a really big image, but it's here. So to get started making this look right, we should add some styling. And actually sorry, let me just jump back for a bit. We need to do something else. Every time we're using a media item, we should make sure to scale it so we don't get the full size. That's part of the problem that we're seeing here, is that the image that I picked is in a super high resolution. So let's make sure always to scale our images, and doing it in this way is maybe not the right way always. So please do what you normally would do in your front end, and make sure to do similar here in the back office custom views. Okay, let's see if that helped a little bit. Still quite big images, but we have a better idea about what it is. So let's add some styling for our product. So we have this main style sheet that contains the base for the layout. There's some additional stuff for the layout that is specific for the project. And then we have each block written down here. Just as a typical old school web project, we are identifying things by their class, and that's how this is done. You don't need to do it like this, but I've chosen to do so to make it simpler to understand how things are connected. And in this case, I have the product class. And let's see. I want to make sure that the image is not too wide. So I'll target the image tag, and I'll ask it to be 100% wide. And since maybe I didn't do that actually, let's just check. Okay, I did pick the style sheet, so everything should be good. What did happen for me here is something that's actually very important for me to tell you, is that back office is caching way too hard, at least for this scenario. So I'm not able to get latest. What I can do is I can open my DevTools, go to network, and check off disable cache. And this enables me to hard refresh and get the latest version of my style sheet. So this is way better than what we had before. Now the image tag is 100% wide. And let's just put in some more styling just to make it look nice. So I'll just copy some things here. It's basically adding some padding, removing some margin. The description gets a thinner font with a slightly gray tone, a little bit of spacing beneath, and then we make sure to make the price in the fat font. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. Didn't I save it? Let's just check what I did wrong here. Product info. Okay, I don't feel like this is looking exactly like it should do. Info. Okay, I didn't spell it right. Good one. That's what happens when you're live coding. Let's see here. How does it go? Let's go back. Okay, that's better. So now we have our product visible here in our backend. So that's quite nice. I can rearrange and so on. But one thing you'll notice is that I can't click directly on the block to edit it. I have to click the little pin up here. For the other blocks in this project, I've made it possible to just click anywhere to go to edit. And that's a choice you need to make, because maybe you would put buttons that actually does something in your custom view. In theory, you could put input fields and so on in your custom view and make editors able to edit content directly, if that's what you want to do. So let's just go ahead and do that. What I'll do is I'll put ng-click. That's an AngularJS way to listen for click. And I'll just tell that to call block.edit. Let's go back. And then I can click it. But it's not super intuitive for me that I can click it, because I still have the normal cursor. And then it becomes valuable to me that I'm actually able to put styling directly into the block, and it's not going to float out. It's styling that will be contained within this one. So what I can do is I can just write that I want the pointy cursor. Now I'm targeting host. That's basically the outer element. I could also do this specifically on the product. But the reason why I want to put this in here and not in our general style is because I don't want the product to be clickable in our front end. This is something I just want to add here for back office. Let's see how that goes. Now you can see the pointy cursor. Okay, that's good. So the next thing I would like us to do is to make a custom view that is contextually aware. And for this example, I want to make the product scalable. And we can do that by going to the data type, opening the product block, and I can add another size that this can exist in. And I want to make it make it possible to go in 3 and 6 columns, similar to the card we saw earlier. And if I refresh, we can now, okay, they're all updated already. So I can already now get this experience of scaling it. But the view does not really adapt as I was thinking. So let's go ahead and change the code a little bit to do that. So what I mainly need is I need to be able to know the size of the block. And there's actually 2 ways for me to do that. There's a CSS custom variable available that I can use directly here in my code. That is, let me just see what it's called. It's called this. So I could use that to do something in a calculation. But that's not what I wanted to do for this one. For this one, I wanted to use Angular to set a class when the item is spanning 6 columns. So I'll write ng class, and then I want to set a class called --medium when the block layout has a column span of 6. Then we'll get the medium class. And I'll use that here in the style sheet. I will not bore you with the styling, so I'll just paste it in. But in general, yeah, I'm turning the product into using Flexbox when it has the medium. I'm making sure that the product image is taking half width of the block, and making sure the image actually does cover that area that is available. And I'm changing the padding, adding some padding to the left side of the product info. Let's go and refresh and see how that goes. So I can now, no, that did not work. Let's just see. Did I not save? Did I not save this one? Okay. Okay, something does happen. It does sort of what I wanted, but not exactly. So let me just go back to my code here to see what is going wrong. I might need to go here to my copy actually to just get this part. I'm not sure I made my notes in the right way. No, that's not it. Sorry. I want to get this part. Let's see if that's better. No, it's not. Well, a little bit. We now have the information going down here. Okay. And what is going wrong? Let me just steal this one. Let's just see here. So it's good that I made this, if everything goes wrong, copy, because that's live. You're coding live, and it's still not doing exactly what I wanted. That's actually a little bit annoying. How come? So the width is supposed to do that. Okay. Oh, now I know. Okay, I didn't implement this class. Okay, so to make this do exactly act exactly like I wanted, I need to wrap the image in a div. That's at least the solution for this one. Let's just go like that. This would be more correct. And let me just remove something so I'm not jumping ahead. So that was better. Let's just copy this product to insert another one. Maybe change the image just to make it look a little bit different. So now we have a product block that has a custom view that adapts to whether it's a 3-column or a 6-column block that we are using here. And that's, yeah, quite handy, especially because from an editor perspective, if this had been a small product block and that had been a medium product block, then if they wanted to try to arrange this in different ways, they would actually have to create a new block to try out to see how it would be as a medium. And if they didn't want that, then have to remove it again and so on. So this is way more shifty, intuitive, I guess you can say, that you can just try to scale it. But maybe this is not the amount of freedom you want to give to your content editors. So let's try to set up a strict layout for our products to enforce that it's 2 small and 1 medium size that we will get here. So the way I'll do that is by creating a new block, and I will call that the product section. We will not use any data for it currently. And I only want this to be allowed in the root. Oh, I see. Maybe there's some questions. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay. I don't see any questions immediately, but let me know if there's. Yes, that's what I want. And I want this product section to have 3 areas, one for each product. And the first one I'm just going to call small product 1. I'm going to scale that to 3 columns. I'm going to do small product 2. Scale that to 3 columns. And I'll do a medium product. Like that. That's good. Let's save that and try to go to the.
Yeah.
This was a new talk. I did not have
Hey,
internet.
Niels, can you hear me?
And it was live coding on the stage. So I was.
Niels, can you hear me?
I was really nervous for that one.
Niels,
Yes.
can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, the stream's gone down. We're just going to sort you out.
What?
You might have to rewind 1 second.
Yeah. Okay.
We've
Cool.
got resiliencies built into the whole system, so it's fine. But
Okay.
yeah, we're just working it out.
Yeah. Okay. But let me
Stick with
know when I can continue. And do you have an idea about where I stopped at, or
where you stop? Well, so we've got another
Yeah.
talk at 2 p.m. So there is.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you have an idea about where
you
the
cut
stream
out?
cut?
So it's within the past couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
So
Good.
yeah, you can rewind. We will reintroduce the stream back to bring the audience back. So don't worry.
Okay. Let
Yeah,
me
1
know
second. Well, give us
they're
a
back.
second.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's Paulina? Okay, when she's back, can you send her in? But that connection is still running the call, right? The wired connection. Okay. Yeah, but it does the call not run on the same internet? The call didn't drop. Okay, so we need to make sure auto stop's not off. Yeah, but then it won't be on the new video. Oh, they're separate, are they? I mean, maybe we can switch that over at some point. So the feed went down.
Oh.
So we're just going to restart the stream. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Niels, you can still hear us, right? Good.
Yes,
Cool.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Good. We're definitely live.
And
Yes.
are we back up?
So we're currently switching the feeds over on the website. So everyone will get switched to the new video if they're watching on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Umbraco community is growing. YouTube can't handle that. It's some consumed with how awesome we are. It's crashed.
I guess I can take time then to answer comments on
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, please, in the chat.
on because it's the same YouTube stream that will continue, right?
Yeah, fantastic. So as far as we know, okay, so as far as we know, the oh, I can hear the
I
feed
can hear
now.
myself, yeah.
All right. Where's it playing from? Right, okay. Hello, welcome back. We are sorry, but we've had some technical issues in the studio. We are back.
Yes.
YouTube had some issues.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. We've been streaming this whole time, and just trying to work out what's been going on. If you're
Works
watching,
on my machine.
it works on my machine. If you are watching on day.umbraco.community, you will be seeing us live. We are now actually live,
yeah.
and Niels is going to resume his session very shortly. If you are watching on YouTube, you won't be seeing this, and you're going to be missing out. But you can always rewind and miss and catch up on the bit that you missed. Equally, the chat will switch over at some point as well to this new feed. So yeah, we're sorry. Stuff happens, right? What we think happened is YouTube, for some reason, just completely killed the stream on their end, and it therefore stopped the feed going to all of you people. Our systems here were still pushing the video out. It was still on air. We don't really know what's gone on. But,
I agree with Marcus and what Ravi says as well. We are just so awesome that
yes,
YouTube
clearly
has crashed.
Umbraco community has crashed YouTube.
Yes.
I don't think
Woohoo, we managed that.
yeah, I mean, 100 views. Wow. Just, YouTube can't handle it. Anyway, I guess, Niels, we only have 7 people watching right now, so we don't know if everyone's made it over. Maybe people were just watching on YouTube instead of the website.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Come on,
can
people,
confirm
move
YouTube
on to
is
the
down.
new stream.
but,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there's a good elevator music going on the YouTube channel. That's nice.
Oh, is there elevator
Yeah.
music? Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So do you want me to continue no matter the amount of people?
So you could continue because then people can rewind if they miss out on any of this. So Niels, take it away. Over back to you.
Okay.
Back to you.
Do you
Sorry
still
about
have the screens? Do you still have the screen sharing?
Yep, we can bring your screen up.
Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you. So where I got cut off was about making a strict layout for these products, because not everyone wants to have the editors being able to make free small and maybe too big and so on. Maybe you want to lock this down. So I started creating a new blog to host that. And I called it block section, and I made an empty element type for it, and I set up the areas for it. There's a small product, 1 area, and the 2, and the third one is for a medium product. That's a 6 column spanning 1. And with that, I want to remove the ability to scale the product block. So I'm turning that off by removing all the options. And what we'll see then is that our existing blocks will now take full width. And if we then go ahead and create the product section, then we'll now see those 3 areas, and I can start taking my existing products and move them in. And what you'll see is that now the size of the block is determined by where I put it. And not me scaling it freely. So this is a way for the projects where you want to keep it a bit more under control, but still it provides the editor with some freedom. And the freedom in this case is that it's not the medium product area is not locked to a medium product, it's just locked to a product. And the two small areas are locked to just using the product, which enables me to take the medium product, you can say, and put it in the small column without changing the data itself. So that's giving the content editors ability to rearrange content easily. Okay, let's see where we got off. Oh yeah, so you might notice this looking a little bit funny with this element being down here, and actually the product section that I made here is not even using a custom view, it's just using the default presentation. So let's go to code and make, actually we don't need to make a custom view, but let's just do it anyway. Product section, that's not where I wanted it, up here. And we actually just want, similar to what the other section does, it's a section element, and we're using this AngularJS component to render the areas. Actually, let me just touch a little bit on this one. This one renders all the areas that are configured, but there is options to render a single area, and what that will enable you to do is to put your areas where you want and control how they are appearing. But let me just get back to that in a bit. This is the custom view for the product section, and let me go in and pick that for the block. There we go. We want to use the same style sheet. Not that I think it matters. So, oh yeah, it matters. Good. And we'll refresh and see. Okay, I forgot to say. Sorry. Just redo the. Oh, sorry. Redo the content. And that looks more like I intended. But we still have this product acting weirdly in the middle of this area where I actually wanted it to be top aligned. And that's because in the block grid example website, I've changed the default behavior of an area. And let's just go have a look at what's happening here. If we scroll up the style sheet that came from the product, we here have a line that targets the grid, you can say, the block that has a content element type alias of one column section block. And no, sorry, I'm talking rubbish now. we are targeting all areas and saying that they should center their content. But I want to reuse the same way of selecting things as I'm doing down here. So what I want to do is I want to target the block that has a content element type alias of product section. And the areas that are within that, I want to let them know that they should top align what is called start in Flexbox. And let's just go ahead and see that happening. Now it looks like it would if you were not basing your project off the example website, but since the example website had changed the default, then I had to rewind that. But what it actually also shows you is the ability for you to target parts depending on the aliases that are defined, and that can actually be very relevant if we jump to another topic that is very important for you to spend some time on if you start using the block grid editor, and that is the way this is acting responsively. So if we go, just see here if I can find the website. If we go here and look at the website, maybe I have to say the default layout style sheet that comes with Umbraco is containing a generalized calculation for doing responsiveness. And the reason why it's generalized is because we don't know the amount of columns you will be using. So it's using a algorithm to sort of figure out how to make things bigger as you scale. But if you know you're using a 12 column or a 16 column or 24 column grid, then you can do this way better than this general script does. And we can start just seeing how it actually works here for the front page. What happens is at one point the area right and left goes under each other, and then you see it like this. Of course, still someone should go down and code each block so it is responsive. I haven't done that for this project, but that's work for you. But anyway, this experience was acceptable. That was not horrible. But if we go to the other page, we will see these cards similar to the products we just made. And if I scale those, we'll see that some of them gets an odd new size. That's not what we wanted for a responsive behavior. And what the calculation is doing is it's multiplying the column that each thing is spanning by 3 within a clam, so it doesn't get taller than so it doesn't go over 12. And what happens for these ones that are free columns wide is that on mobile they then are 9, which leaves out 3 columns for nothing, and we don't want that. So let me just show you how we in code can be more specific about the responsive behavior. And maybe just to give you an insight in how that generalized code is looking, is it's placed here and here. There's even a comment about it, just so it's easy to understand. And it's this calculation that I talked about before, where we take the amount of columns that it spans and multiply them by 3, but we keep it within the grid's amount of columns. And then when we are above 1024 pixels, we override that calculation with the expected behavior, which is using the amount of columns to span that the item is set for. And we can keep that as the base functionality of our project. But what we also can do is that we can go ahead and specify this even further. And one way to do that is to, in good old manner, describe what we want to happen for each span, and we can target that by targeting this attribute called call span. And what I'm doing with this code that I just pasted is that I'm telling everyone that is between 1 and 6 columns on desktop should be 6 columns, and everyone that is above that should become full width on mobile. And then when we get to the desktop, we will use the value that it's set for. And let me just save that to see how that looks. Sorry, that was the other way. If I refresh now, we'll see that these, there's something wrong with that one, but we'll see that these three column cards are now spanning 6 columns, because we wrote that everything that is between 1 and 6 should be spanning 6 on mobile. And once we get above that, well, did I miswrite something here? Yes, the demo guards are not so happy anyway. There's something wrong with the space. Okay, that was let's just skip. Oh, let's just skip that, and okay, now it's working. Okay, so that space broke something. I don't know where that space come from. So now you'll see it's as expected on desktop, and when we get to mobile, the 3 column items will then span 6 columns. And we can combine this with the way we target a specific block. So what we can do is we can tell a specific block to do it in a different way. So if we use the product block alias, that's the element type that we used for our products, we can tell that the product block, when that is set to span 6 columns and we are on mobile, then it should maybe actually take full width. And then when we are in desktop mode, we maybe want it to be different. That's actually that's no difference in that. But oh yeah, sorry, we do like that to reset it. So in this way, I hope you can see how you are fully in control of how you want your responsiveness to be, and you can specify it for individual blocks. You can do it for specific blocks that are within another block, and so on. So that's quite handy. I see time is running out, and so let's get to an end. So I hope that you can see how this is very much a front-end task, and by using the block grid editor and having blocks within each other, you are now able to use the features of CSS to affect the blocks. And in this way, we can have blocks changing appearance depending on different sizes. And we can also have use custom CSS variables. We didn't touch upon that today, but we can use custom CSS variables that will go through the shadow DOM and affect child items. And if you have time to investigate this project further, then you will be able to see how this call to action button can adapt to its environment. So in this case, it becomes blue, and that's its default look. But when it's within the hero, there's a CSS custom property that is affecting its appearance. Okay, so I really hope this demo gives you an insight to how you can get started with writing custom views, and how much flexibility you can give your content editors by doing so. And yeah, you are free to use it as you want. Let's stop here. I hope that the stream cutoff didn't ruin it too much.
Absolutely not.
And I can't see the questions.
So because of the technical issues we've had, the chat has been split across 2 different streams. There was a couple of questions, some of them around Bootstrap versus CSS Grid and those sorts of things. But I think you answered most as well through when you were talking, and there was a lot of friendly people helping out in the chat as well. So thank you very much, Niels. This was completely a very in-depth
actually just to touch upon it. Just to touch upon that whether it can use Bootstrap, then it cannot directly use Bootstrap, but you can go ahead and replace the layout logic with your own. And if you are very handy looking around our repo, there is actually an example of using Flexbox to what's it called, build full block grid editor.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for watching.
People are asking about code samples and GitHub repos, which I guess you can share shortly after this.
Yes, for sure. But it's on the Umbraco GitHub account. So
fantastic. So for those who managed to code along with Niels, congratulations, well done. For those that are going to watch this back a bit later, good luck. We hope you achieved everything. It looks really like a very powerful new feature in the core. So kudos to you and the team for working on that.
It's good to have options, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fantastic.
For sure. Thank you very much, Niels. We're going to go to our next session now.
Thank you.
But we'll see you in a second.